Hi, I'm Lisa Singer. I am the Deputy Editorial Director at Media Post, and this is Brand Insider BTS, where I get to pull back the curtain on some of the most influential women marketers today. And with me is Candace Beck. She is the Director of Social, Influencer, and Web3 at Chipotle. Welcome, Candace.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hey, no, I'm glad that you are here with us. You were at one of our events recently, but I didn't get to go. But you were very impressive what you had to say. I did watch, what you had to talk about, and I knew that I'm like, oh, I need to hear more about this person. So I'm so glad you were able to do this with me.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'm super excited and yeah, I can't wait to dive in.
Okay, well, I mean, obviously QSR is your thing, but we have to make note that congratulations, you were selected by QSR Magazine as what you're being one of the 35 most exciting young executives or leaders to watch in QSR. So congrats, that's really awesome.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a full team of us, but to get the recognition was I was really honored. Thank you.
Well, I mean, and also, just to be put in that kind of category. I mean, you see the different people that are there, and big part of that decision making was, really seeing you as a visionary and seeing you as resilient. That was sort of one of the themes that kept being brought up with that. Talk about that in the sense of being resilient in your life and not in with Chipotle, because we obviously know since you already was awarded for that, but just in your life in general, was there a time ever that you were more resilient or maybe surprised yourself with something that might have happened?
Oh man, yeah. I would say just even early on as a young adult, I am from a super small town. I mean, we're talking like zero point 0.9 square miles,
Wow.
so less than a mile. Um, and I knew that I wanted to go to a big school, and it was just I always had big dreams. And when some of that stuff starts to play out in reality, it can be pretty intimidating. I was the only person from my graduating class of 93 kids in high school to go to Ohio State. And I mean, I knew zero people. And I think even just from that point on, um, you know, I was making decisions for myself that I knew would set me up for the future. And I knew that, I think that just even by going to Ohio State and I think that set me up for, well, what's the next biggest thing? I want to work for the biggest company. I want to work for the best, at X thing. And I think I always had those big ambitions. So I would just say that, you know, I think it was always a challenge because I was a person of one doing those things and sort of setting myself up for it. And I think that's where, I even being the first person I was actually the first person in my family to go to college too, for example. So I think just, it was just really important for me to try, fail, try again, do bigger. And I think that's just kind of my personality and how I've always been. But, the moms out there will appreciate this. I could also talk about nursing as being another time of resiliency, but we'll save that topic for another time.
You have another career that I'm not hearing about, or
Oh, no, I mean, nursing as in children.
I
So,
don't know.
that's
Okay,
a
well,
whole
my
that's
mind
a
went all
whole
all
journey.
right.
No, no, that's a whole mom journey that I think,
How old is
people will
your little one
appreciate.
now? How old is
Yeah,
your
I
little
have, we have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Oh my gosh, wow. So
Yeah.
that's resilient, just having that, and through COVID, obviously a big part of
Yes. Yeah, yeah, both, one was born a little bit before COVID, one during, so, yeah, childcare too during a pandemic, I would say that's, made us pretty resilient as parents.
that.
It's been a wild ride, but we're
Yeah.
all coming out on the other side.
I don't, well, when you say that though, and I want to sort of go back to going to Ohio State, but then just what you're talking about having, these two little ones during COVID. All of these are such scary things. But do you think, and let's begin with the going to Ohio State, as you said, that was something that you were doing on your own, taking because you knew you wanted more for your life or you saw bigger things. Because you did that, do you feel like that set you up to continue doing that and being okay maybe going into the unknown, whether it be in parenting or work or whatever else may come your way?
Yeah, I think I've always been a lemonade out of lemons person. I even from a young age, I've always been a problem solver. I get that from my stepdad always instilled that in me. There's always a solution. Just roll up your sleeves and figure it out. So I think that little bit of grit too helped to push me um, into not only a career, but just the way that, my husband and I live our life. Like, we sort of just roll with the punches. So we try not to let a ton of stuff get to us because, c'est la vie. It's,
Right.
you got to keep going. And so I think we kind of always take that approach toward everything. And I think, the pandemic, that attitude was certainly necessary for everyone.
Yes, that is true. You had to, there was no, you couldn't compare it to anything. It was not, there was no playbook
No,
to follow.
no, not at all.
What was the biggest challenge? I mean, having your kids, I mean, aside from you mentioned, really no one to take care of them, no nanny service coming around, but what would you say, especially with a newborn baby, it must have been a little daunting in terms of healthcare, like just being so, like, even though you're not, hopefully not having to bring your baby to the hospital, but there are supposed to be a lot of checkups. They're supposed, you know what I mean? Like all of that. What was that like for you? How did you go into that?
Yeah, so I mean, we honestly, I think so much of it is a blur. But we navigated it. So there were days early in quarantine where, we didn't have a nanny. My husband and I are working from home. We've got one little one at the time, and you're bouncing between meetings, and my husband and I would go through our schedule, our calendar every morning and say, okay, can you take her? When can you take her? Oh, I have a meeting with our CMO. I can't do right now. We would do that whole back and forth. And eventually we have a wonderful nanny. We were able to get her, but I think we truly understood what it's like to be a parent, and especially navigating wanting to socialize them, but not knowing all the rules. It was tough for everyone, and
Yeah.
I'm just glad that we're hopefully all of this is sort of past us, and we can just keep moving on.
I just look forward to the teen years.
Oh Lord.
Maybe there'll be another not, I mean, I don't even want
uh,
to think about that, but I'm just saying, at least keeps them in the house safe. Um, well, I want to get, but again, you went to Ohio State. So talk about that in terms of what were your ambitions? As you said, you just sort of knew you wanted more. Was it always, which your first job out that I saw was for Abercrombie and Finch. So, and Fitch. But was that where you were looking towards, or did that just happen to be the first job? Did you have QSR at all on your radar?
yeah, well, so two parts of that question. Um, I had interned with Abercrombie and Fitch when I was a senior in college. And I was doing event planning. I've sort of always been in that. I've always had like a marketing, event planning, culture driven brain. I like to be social and part of the moment. And so I was doing event planning, interning, and I ended up getting a full-time position after school in marketing. And it was in a production role, which was great. I think I wanted more of a creative role. And my husband and I had actually always, he was my college boyfriend at the
I was gonna
time.
say, okay, it seems like
Yeah,
that means you've been together a while.
we sure have. We just celebrated 13 years together.
Oh, congratulations.
Um, yeah, so we knew that we wanted to move to Denver. It was just something that was on our bucket list, and Conveniently, Chipotle was
I
based.
want to get a better understanding. You gave small hometown. Where was that? I mean, if you don't want to give the name or
Oh yeah.
whatever, the location, and so just to give a gauge on terms of moving from spot to spot.
Yeah, I grew up in a small town in Cincinnati, Ohio, and then went to Ohio State, which is in Columbus, Ohio. Abercrombie is in this little pocket in northeast Columbus, Ohio, with a bunch of other retail brands. And so that's where we were, was in we were still in Columbus at the time. Um, and we wanted to move to Denver. It was just, like I said, it was always on our bucket list. And Chipotle was a company that I had wanted to work for, I kid you not, since I was in high school.
Really?
I ate Chipotle for the first time, I think it was my sophomore or junior year of high school. And being in the restaurant, every single touch point had some sort of clever marketing tied to it. And it was just always it was always in the back of my head of like, whoever is writing that marketing, whoever is writing that copy, whoever is behind this is so good and just gets it. They're thinking through every detail and every customer experience. And, back then I wasn't thinking from the customer experience perspective, but I just knew that it was clever. I knew that it was smart, and I wanted to be a part of it. So when we moved to Denver, I didn't have a job yet, but my boyfriend at the time, husband now, did. And I think all of the stars just aligned, but there happened to be a career fair the week that we moved to Denver, a career fair at Chipotle. And there was a role that was open for it was a marketing consultant role, which turns out today was the glorified name for customer service, basically.
Uh-huh.
But I saw marketing and I
Yeah.
ran for it because I was already in marketing. I knew that's what I wanted to do. And marketing at Chipotle is like my dream job. So I
The
get
mother
in.
calling you home.
Yes, exactly. So I get in and I started basically on the customer service team. And, like I said, I was coming from such a fun, event planning and working at this really cool brand. You know, and now what is customer service? And I will always say that that was the best path for me. And I think that being part of that team got me so ingrained into Chipotle and all of the details. I mean, your customer service team knows more about your brand. They see every single project that comes, down the pipeline from department to department. They have to know everything that's going on. And I think it was the quickest way that I could have ever been ingrained into a brand. So was working on the customer service team for a few months, and a role on the social media team opened, I think 4 months after I started. And I moved to the social media team. And back then, that was when we were just doing one-to-one conversations. It was social media marketing didn't really exist. This was
One to one,
20,
like with just like on Facebook or
yeah, on Twitter, on Facebook. I mean, Instagram was hardly a thing at that time. And this is around 2014.
Mhm.
We had Instagram, but I think with a lot of our channels back then, we would ask ourselves as a small team, a small social team, we'd say, what should we tweet today? Should we post? Should we post a photo of a burrito today? And it was those kinds of conversations. And as the years progressed, we hired a director of digital marketing who sort of reorganized the team and put me in a content strategy role for social.
Mhm.
And I would sort of say the rest is kind of history. I was Chipotle's first social content strategist. And I have, now built a team of a couple other young women who are leading the charge in day-to-day social and Web3 and influencers. And it's just been a full circle. And I feel like we're not even close to done.
Wow.
I've been with Chipotle for it was 9 years last week. And
Anniversary.
yeah, oh, thanks. Yeah. I just, every day it's something new. And I feel like there's so much unfinished business.
Hey, you just said it's what 13 years with your husband?
Yeah.
2 anniversaries then, or
It's the same day. Can you
same
believe
day?
that?
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like, do, 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 do,
I know.
meant to
Uh,
be husband, meant to be job. That's
yeah.
awesome. I want to step back with what you said about customer service, which you wouldn't necessarily think it. I mean, it makes complete sense how, as customer service, you're hearing all of the complaints, all of the positive. So you, as you said, you are learning so much. I mean, about like you. I think a lot of people starting out would say, "Oh, I don't want to start in customer service," because I'm sure it's also one of the most, you know, unforgiving kind of, you
Yeah.
have to deal with a lot. But at the
It's
same time,
hard.
it does make sense in terms of that it is a good training ground for getting to know the brand.
Yeah, and I would say, Chipotle customer service, especially back when I was doing it, there were, I think, 13 of us on the team, and it was, there was a reason why it was called a marketing consultant. The intention was to respond to, every person who wrote into our website,
Really?
with a thoughtful, creative, clever response, even if, it was to something that maybe wasn't so positive. So, it wasn't to undermine, if someone was complaining, but it was to help them out and it was to give them a positive brand experience. So, you know, it's a little bit, there's some of the same today, and some things have changed, but I think that that keen eye for putting the customer first has always been so true to Chipotle, and it was so much a part. I mean, we were writing, some of these as if we're comedy writers, because it was, when people are writing in to tell you how much they love Chipotle, you can have so much fun with that. So, I try to remember
Yeah.
those moments.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And it does seem just completely like the stars aligned when you guys,
Yeah.
went to Colorado, and just it just worked out perfectly then with the Chipotle. And now here you are with two little kids, two, did you say daughter? I know one was a daughter, do you have a little boy
Yeah.
too? Two
No,
daughters.
two daughters.
Wow, it's
Yeah.
pretty amazing. Well, I want to. I like to sometimes have little games and play and just see what to get an insight to some things. So I do have. I know that last year, keeping in line with Chipotle, you had a burrito or Bitcoin campaign that did very well. And
Mhm.
I don't have $100,000 in burritos or bitcoins to give, but I want to play sort of that game, like this or that. So we'll just start easy. All right, I
I
think
love games, so this is great.
this is it. So, and this one, I think actually I know the answer of saying it, but I will beat your mountains.
Mountains.
I was going to say, because,
Yeah. But I live by the beach now, so it's a little controversial, but I think I'm a mountain girl at heart.
okay, mountains. All right. So, would you like someone to surprise you or someone to make you laugh?
Oh, that's such a laugh.
What would
But
you would
I
you laugh
love
at
to
yourself?
surprise
That's what I was going to
people.
say.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So you would rather surprise someone, but you would like someone to make you laugh.
Yes.
Okay.
It
Co-
might actually be the opposite now that I think about it, because I can make people laugh and I want to be surprised because I surprise other people. So
Mhm.
actually that might be a reverse.
So now we've helped you figure yourself out. See, some of this also
Maybe
self.
this is more like therapy.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Basically. All right, eat coffee or tea?
Coffee,
Me too. Dog or cat?
dog.
No, nothing against cats, but
There are dog people and there are cat
yes,
people.
yes. All right, I had to add this one in. Guacamole or salsa?
Oh, guac all day.
Yep, me too. Ted Lasso or Stranger Things?
Ooh, Ted Lasso. Give
Mm,
me a comedy.
gosh, I cannot wait for it to come back, but it's going to be the last one. It's coming back this fall, but I guess that's it. They're what is it, four and done or three? Is this the third or?
4, but, go out while you're on top.
Yes, I agree with that too. But it just when I knew it was like the coming up to the end of the season, I was like getting sad watching the last couple because I'm like, no, it's gonna be over. But
I do that too. That's what makes binge watching hard too, because you're watching it so quickly and then it comes to an end and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I have to wait so long
I
for."
actually purposely stop. because I don't,
Good
I'm like,
idea.
I put it in that, okay, I can watch a couple and then I need to wait till next week. Like I need to be able to continue to keep watching things.
Yes. Yes.
So speaking of that, streaming or linear,
Ooh, streaming.
okay. A good book or a good movie?
Hmm. A good book, but I never get time to read them anymore because I have 2 children.
Yes, that makes sense. Have you seen a good movie recently?
Oh, what did I see? I I don't even know the last movie I watched, but I can tell you a good book that I've read, which is Permission to Parent. It's been such a good reminder that we're all doing our best, and that there are no rule books, but um, you don't have to do too much extra to be a good parent. You just have to love them and to take care of them and to keep them safe, and
Mhm.
tell them no every once in a while, and that's okay.
But it sounds like it's almost could be something good for anyone, whether you're a parent or not. Just like you said, do your best, like,
Yeah.
and not that there might be a little too many diaper things mentioned for someone who's not a parent. In general, the thought is there. Okay,
Yeah.
how about you're a night owl or an early bird?
Night owl my whole life.
Me too. I wish I keep trying to be an early bird, but it just it
I
doesn't
gave
work.
up. I gave up trying to be an early bird. It's just not gonna happen. But my husband is an early bird. I think you tend to, opposites attract.
Mhm.
So he can do all the things that he needs to in the morning. I can keep us going at night. So just works out great.
Perfect match then. Okay, a couple more. Phone call or text?
I would love a phone call if I have more time, but always text.
Okay, and last one, jeans and t-shirt or little black dress?
Oh, jeans and t-shirt all day.
I sort of thought that would be the answer, but had to ask. Awesome. So that's the game for the day. Sorry, no
Great.
prizes, but you did well. So anyway, well, I want to ask you, getting back to Chipotle, since that is where you work. Um, you were named Fast Company's one of Chipotle was named one of Fast Company's most innovative brands. And I know just from I do a lot of snooping and read people's LinkedIn comments and pages and everything. And you said that that was something that you guys, because from what you've been saying, obviously you started this small team and you really, you know, work together to bring it to where you are today. And but part of in your head at that time was to be that, to be one of what Fast Company would consider an innovative brand. And you did this. First of all, you described it as really one of the most challenging experiences. In what way? And on both the professional end and also maybe on the personal side, it is because it sounded like that maybe there was a little of that as well.
Yeah, we had so this is 2018, and I will never forget being in a room with our agency in LA, and we were just planning for the next year. And we're building our strategy, and it was a creative workshop, and our North Star and our takeaway from that meeting ended up being, asking ourselves, what would it take to become Fast Company's most innovative brand? We're putting all of our favorite brands up on a board, and we're talking through, why we love them. What are our dream campaigns? What if Chipotle could do X, and it seems like a pipe dream at the time. Um, to give a little backstory, we had just moved the company from Denver to Newport Beach. So I was sort of resetting with a new team. And I had been with Chipotle for about 5 years at that point. And when you've been with a brand even that long,
Mhm.
you are in a routine, you're comfortable. Especially in marketing, there are a million ideas that you've heard that you're like, oh, we would never do that. And you've got your list of um, areas that are safe and areas that you wouldn't touch. And when we made that move to Newport and sort of reset, that's when I sort of had to make a conscious decision and choice every day, to try new things and to really think of, as this is a moment in time where we are going to, um, you know, change the way that people are seeing Chipotle and put Chipotle on a map in a way that, we haven't in the past. And take chances, reinvent the wheel, create new processes, learn from a whole new leadership organization. And I think that's what, when I wrote that post, that's really what I had in mind, because not only did I have big dreams and, we had this lofty goal of getting, this accolade from Fast Company, but it was also just such a pivotal moment in my career where I knew that I was putting every effort into my dream job, basically. And I had and have still, she's still my boss, but had a leader who believes in me and my team, and just this total feeling of empowerment. And we knew, like, this is the moment, we're going to do this. We are totally, and if that's our North Star, if that's our goal, we're going to meet our goal and we're going to do it. And then we did. And it was the best feeling. So many of the projects that were listed, it was such a combination of projects, from the brand team to my team to our digital team. We've all contributed, and it was so great to see a lot of that hard work pay off.
That is awesome. And I kind of skipped by it by just sort of casually mentioning it, but I do want congratulations that you did achieve it.
Oh, thanks.
I jumped right into the question. I'm like, I didn't even congratulate you. But I mean, that is amazing. But it also must have been because, as you're saying, this is your dream job. You uprooted your life at that time. You had a lot, even though you had leadership that was, you know, believing in you. At the same point, you also knew that as much as people can believe in you, if you're not going to step up and be able to achieve these things, maybe that dream job is, no longer. I mean, there's like, I mean,
Yeah.
there's been all of those things in your head. I mean, one, how were you dealing with that? And then how did you, like I know, and I know you did mention that you kind of like to just move forward, you and your husband, but at the same point, it must have been fairly daunting at the time.
It was, candidly, I always say that year was a stranger year for me, almost more than the pandemic, because, like exactly you said, it was, such a change, but such a cool opportunity um, to lead with really great marketers, and build a team that was ready to just take it on. And it was such a great opportunity. And we just, I'll, never look back.
Yeah, definitely. And but I forgot actually you're in Newport Beach now. Me too.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Yes, because I was remembering Colorado, but I forgot the whole that. Yes, that was the big transition. So are you good West Coast here, like as far as
I
being
love it.
being on the beach and being, like I mean, you can't complain about the weather. I mean, everyone's talking about the heat or the
No,
this or that, and I'm like, yeah, it's in the 70s, you know.
I know. My parents, I mean, they come here as a destination, it's a vacation. So yeah, no, I love everything about it. Our building, we can see the ocean from the office. I can see it right here. So it's beautiful. And yeah, just grateful for great weather every day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the definite. I mean, there's things. I'm sort of an East Coast girl, to be honest. I mean, in terms of personality, I guess, and I still have family. And but when you have weather like this, and that you can just be out all the time, it's just you
Yeah.
need it. But so anyway, that's awesome. Now you achieved this. What your goal was. The Fast Company, most innovative. Where do you go next? And again, take it a little bit. I mean, keeping Chipotle in mind, but take it a little away from that. Like in terms of what do you see for yourself? Like what's the next goal that you need to set and sort of put that challenge to yourself?
Man, we ask ourselves that every day. And by we, I mean me and my husband. It's always what's next. And I think even just recently we were trying to buy a house in this crazy market. We felt this pressure as a young family to buy a home and, and grow our roots and all of that. And after a while, we just, I think, started to realize that, you know, the best laid plans are, you know, not actually very planful. So
Yeah.
I think we are starting to realize we are just, you know, where you are is sort of exactly where you're supposed to be. And we're okay with that. But from a goal standpoint, we have big goals as a social team. And I think, like I said before, I just, it just I feel like my work isn't done here, and I think that's what makes me the most excited. I think if we felt like we had achieved everything, it would be easy to think about, what's next? Where am I going? What's my career going to be? But
Mhm.
I think because every day is different, and because we are such a team that thrives in real time and reacting to culture and all of those things, um, every day feels like a new day. Every day feels like a new project. And so
Well,
it keeps us on our toes.
especially in social media. I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
constantly changing. It's just as you were saying, oh, we're sort of on Instagram, and now this TikTok. Like where a
Yeah.
few years ago, everyone was like, "What is TikTok?" Like I'd be having an event, and I'm like, they'd be wanting me to talk about it, but no one could talk about it because no one was doing it yet. And so it's
Yeah.
like, and now you have to be doing it. And what's going
Yeah.
to be that next thing a year from now or 2 years from now? And it's just constantly
Well,
changing.
and it's so important to me to work for a purpose driven brand. That's always been
Mhm.
something I've been super passionate about. And, um, you know, our Chipotle's mission is to cultivate a better world. And we do that through real food. And the fact just that we can impact so many people, providing real, whole, fresh ingredients every single day at scale is just something that it can't compare to a lot of things. And it's just to feel so proud of where you work and what the mission is, and how you're helping to change the way people think about and eat food. It's just been really important, and it's been really cool to be a part of.
Yeah, and it's real. And what's nice is Chipotle, that has always been your mission, in the sense that we're seeing a lot more of that now, which I think is a good thing. I mean,
Yeah.
sustainability has definitely become much more of not just, okay, let's say we're sustainable, but actually trying to achieve that in some form. But that's always been the root of Chipotle, and trying
Yeah.
to bring that to people, and just that's who you guys are down deep.
Yeah.
So that's
You
awesome.
are spot on.
Yeah. Well, you guys are great. I want to end with one more question. And this is basically, if you had one thing to unlearn, what would it be?
Oh, that is such a great question. To unlearn. Hmm. Maybe it would be if I had to unlearn, this goes against everything about my job. If I had to unlearn how to use social media, maybe that, no, I'm teasing. I think, what would I unlearn? Um, I would unlearn. That's a really great question. No one's ever asked me that before.
I
Um,
have to admit, I stole it from I read it when I was doing my snooping. I read it on someone's Twitter feed, and I'm like, I love that question. I'm taking it.
oh, that's great.
Coming from
Yeah, um, maybe I would unlearn. Hmm, probably something, probably something safety related, honestly, for my kids. If I didn't learn something, then maybe I wouldn't be so nervous as a parent for
helicopter mom,
every little thing
the
that they
helicopter.
do. Yes. Oh, I know. Yeah, that's like nobody wants to be a helicopter mom.
Well, we will give you that since it is only a 30-minute show. We will keep it
Exactly.
at that. Well, thank you so much. This was really awesome. I really appreciate you doing this interview and getting to know you this way. It was really fun.
Yeah. Well, this is great. Thank you so much for having me. This is such a fun interview.
Good. Candace, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And hopefully, we'll be seeing more of each other actually in person at some events that I will actually
Yeah.
be at one when you're there, which would be very nice. So I'll look forward to that. And thank
Awesome.
you for watching. Again, we do this each week. And we just want to hear about what these women marketers, they're so successful, but they have these stories that got them there. And if you have anyone that you'd like to hear more about, please feel free to tell me about them and I will do my best to get them. And again, thank you so much, Candace.
Awesome. Thank you so much.